Oh, I see.
ホームズはパイプを手に窓の外に広がる濃い霧を見下ろしていた。この霧の底には一体いくつの事件が隠れているのだろうね。不思議な新聞広告から始まる奇想天外な事件。魔剣が闇をかける連続殺人事件に夜の墓場でよみがえる死刑囚の事件。そして誰も知らない町外れの小部屋のありふれた殺人事件。どんな事件もその裏側には誰も知らない物語が潜んでいる。僕を事件現場へと駆り立てるのはその物語なのだよ、ワトソン。早く帽子を取りたまえ。行こうじゃないか、相棒。僕たちの冒険は終わらない。さあ、ゲームの始まりだ。
Oh, okay. What? Or what? Okay. Alright. 8 days after the harrowing trial in which Asogi Kazuma regained his memories, we found ourselves in the lobby of the largest hotel in London, the Gateway Water Hotel. November 1st, 10:24 a.m. in the Gateway Water Hotel lobby. Professor Mikotoba should be arriving soon, shouldn't he?
Yes! I'm so glad we made it in time.
Usada-san's been acting a little strange since then. Well, not that I blame her.
Did you think my father knew? About the incident with Kazuma-sama's father?
You mean about him being the serial killer, the professor? I think he would. Figured that was what was bothering her. Seems likely that he did. After all, he was here in London 16 years ago, studying abroad with him.
That's true.
As I recall, Professor Mikotoba also knew that Asogi had vanished in Hong Kong, right?
Yes, he said that he had a good reason for not being able to tell us about it.
So I wonder if that means Professor Mikotoba also knows the fact that Asogi has regained his memories and is here in London now. Where the heck is he? It's been 8 days, though! Oh, Susato. Whoa! Men in suits!
Father!
Susato, you've been well, I hope. Is that the judge? Hold on a second. Hold on, my hair is like getting in my face.
Yes, I'm so glad you arrived safely as well.
The judge is here! Thanks for coming all this way to meet us, Naruhodō-kun. It's no trouble. I'm so glad to see you're looking well. I've been receiving news of your adventures back home in Japan. I've always looked forward to the monthly reports that come over on the ship from England. That's, I'm honored to hear that. Who's this gentleman again? I feel like we've met before, but... Oh my god, Naruhodo! Well, to be fair, it's been almost a year now. Judging by your expression, you don't seem to remember me. Yes, well, this seems like a fine opportunity to remind him.
Remind me?
In that case... I shall now hand down my verdict for the defendant, Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. Guilty! You're... Wow, Oh, I'm glad the judge has a sense of humor. Oh, that's not awkward at all. Court is hereby in session for Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. Your Honor!
Judge Gyakuten Saiban-sama. It's been a long time since our last meeting. I'm Susato.
It seems like you remember. Guilty! Oh my god, this judge! As I recalled, I received a not guilty verdict, though. In any case, so this is what London has looked like. This is what London looks like after 10 years, huh? I never thought I'd be back here again. That's true. Nor did I expect the great Japanese Empire to be invited to participate in a national symposium. Who could have imagined? It's all thanks to you, Jigoku. Hold on a second. I forgot to advertise on my Twitter. Yes. I have a lot of places I gotta link this thing. It's kind of like... I have too many places to advertise. Alright, Mikatoba, you old silver tongue. I see. So this is Judge Jigoku. 16 years ago, Professor Mikatoba, Asogi's father, and him. They were the 3 Japanese exchange students. In any case, customs ended up taking a long time checking my luggage. I'm rather envious of Mr. Cabinet Minister here who was excused from inspection. Oh, really? I guess you would be, huh? Cabinet Minister? Jigoku here just happens to also hold a position as our nation's Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was the one who hushed everyone who had an issue with you being a substitute exchange student. Guilty! This judge! Well, I really owe you then. I guess he's just as impressive as he looks. That beer is amazing. Alright, Naruhodō-kun. I got a telegram from Lord Vortex yesterday. Oh? Seems like you found out about everything. In that trial 8 days ago. About the tragedy that occurred 10 years ago, I mean.
If you wouldn't mind, could you tell us a little more about it?
Oh, I think we're talking about Asogi on one of these. Your journey from Japan. So, how was it? Your journey to London, I mean. As you know, 50 at sea feels like an awfully long time. 50 months? 50 days? 50 days? 50 days? Is that what they meant? There's a word missing here. I'm not sure if it's like 50 years or 50 days. But it was even worse 16 years ago when we first came here. True. We all wondered if we might be adrift in the ocean forever. This time, we took the same sea route you two did, so we were able to relax and enjoy the voyage.
So then you must have stopped by France's City of Roses, Paris.
Yes, although we only spent 1 night there. We departed from Dunkirk Harbor last night and crossed Dover Channel. The International Scientific Investigation Symposium starts tomorrow. Looks like we made it just in time.
Knowing that my own father was invited to such an important gathering makes me so proud.
Jigoku here managed to earn the trust of England's Attorney General during our study abroad 16 years ago. Likely that's what secured us the invitation. I was just tacked on as an afterthought. Oh, don't be so humble. You were the one who had the forensic pathologist professors from that huge hospital oohing and awing over you. To be honest, I can't say I have fond memories of it. True. No matter how many years pass, that guy is gone for good.
He must mean Asogi's father.
Asogi's father.
Chue.
The true identity of the professor, the one who formerly killed 5 people of noble blood, ended up being Asogi's father, didn't it? Sure did. Asogi Genshin. Genshin.
And of course, you knew, didn't you, Father?
Yes, I was involved too, after all. Asogi Genshin was studying abroad as a detective. He was learning investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. We never even got to find out why that tragedy occurred in the first place. After that top-secret trial, the truth was buried in the darkness when he was executed, without ever telling anyone his side of the story. There are very few people in our nation, as well, who know the truth.
And did Asogi Kazuma know?
The, truth about his father. He couldn't have. He was told that his father had died of an illness. However, perhaps he did have some doubts about his father's death. Huh? I looked after Kazuma-kun like my own child, since he didn't have any relatives to take him in. And one day, he came to the professor's lounge at Yume University and said this. I've been thinking. I need to study in Great Britain, no matter what. Oh god, my foot's asleep.
So then, perhaps Kazuma-sama came to the Great British Empire to investigate his father's death.
I don't know. However, when I saw the look in his eyes, I realized that I shouldn't try to stop him. Actually, there was one more fact that came out during the trial the other day. What might that be? That Asogi Kazuma, who vanished in Hong Kong, is alive. He's here in London right now, working as Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. What? What? No one told us that! It looks like Lord Vortex didn't include that in his telegram. Vortex is so fishy! Kazuma's revival. This Vortex, I'm really concerned. It was a year ago that we were on a steamship bound for the Great British Empire when he suddenly lost his life.
However, Kazuma-sama had actually survived. You knew, didn't you, Father?
To be precise, I didn't. All we knew was the fact that when the steamship made port in Hong Kong, his body vanished. We dispatched an agent in Hong Kong to search for him, but there were no leads. No one ever dreamed that he not only lived, but that he was also here in London. I promise you, I had no idea until just now when you told me. But if that was the case, then why did he never contact us? Yeah, about that. The government and the police were doing everything they could to hunt down some trace of him.
Well, apparently, Kazuma-sama had lost his memories.
What? His memories? The first time we encountered him here in London, he had no idea who we were. That still breaks my heart! Let's see. He didn't recover his memories until the trial 8 days ago. God. What a curious story. I wonder why Lord Vortex didn't mention any of this to us. In any case, we must speak with him at once. Sogi, what are you gonna do now? Maybe we should pay him a little visit, too. Yes? Studying abroad 16 years ago. 16 years ago? We're really going... Okay. 16 years ago. We're really going back in time here. Mikotoba Yujin, Asogi Genshin, and me, Jikoku Seshiro. We're the first legal studies exchange students our nation ever sent, and we traveled across the ocean. Sea travel was even more difficult back then than it is now. Glad I was born in this era. Your father was the top of his forensic pathology class at Yumen University at the time, young lady.
Yes, my grandmother mentioned that as well.
He went to study at the big hospital in order to learn British forensic pathology and the art of performing autopsies. The prison has a cemetery behind it, and the hospital was just beyond the cemetery. The place had quite the intense atmosphere.
Next to the cemetery?
You see, it's often very difficult otherwise to get one's hands on corpses to practice autopsies on. You could say that ties with cemeteries and prisons are necessary for forensic pathology research. It's kind of scary being told that. I owe a lot to that prison's chief officer, Barricade. Then, on our 6th year in England, that incident occurred. Sogi Genshin was arrested as a terrifying serial killer. I couldn't believe it. I'd known him for years. I testified in the top-secret trial, hoping to help him. But you ended up overdoing it and becoming a defendant yourself. This judge! In any case, once the trial was over, we were sent home, leaving Asogi Genshin behind. There was nothing we could do. Now then, we really must be going. Yeah, I'd like to get my trunk up to my room right away.
Sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. In any case, I shall go call a bellboy.
Susato-san ran off. I wish I could have a more leisurely conversation with you, but I need to prepare for tomorrow.
Right. You're an ambassador for Japan, so please do your best.
Naruhodō-kun. Would you mind continuing to look after Susato for me?
No, it's not like that. She's the one looking after me.
Oh, Naruhodō! I'm very grateful to you. After all, I'm not qualified to be a father.
Oh? Huh? What do you mean?
Mikotoba? It was 16 years ago that I left to study abroad in the Great British Empire. It was the very year she was born.
Yes, so I heard.
No one was happier about her birth than me. However, just as she was born, I was made to experience the deepest despair I've ever known. Come to think of it, Susato-san mentioned something like that, didn't she?
It seems that there was a lot going on with my family at the time.
Well, I suppose there's no need to go into detail, but I wasn't sure at the time how to carry on. That's when Jigoku invited me to study abroad with him, in the Great British Empire. I couldn't help worrying about what happened if I left Japan and you behind. So I ended up forcing him to come to London with me. Anyway, those were the circumstances behind my decision. I want her to be able to do the things she wants as much as possible. Although women in this era have very few rights. Professor Mikotoba. That reminds me, Naruhodō-kun. I have a request I'd like to make of you. Sure. What is it? Well, actually...
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Wait! Wait! Who? That's one of the jurors from the first game! Huh? Susato-san.
Now then, let's move your luggage.
I'll get that for you. What's his name? No, he's just the carriage guy. What? I don't remember anymore. 1 moment, please, bellboy. Yes, sir. What? He's a bellboy now? That thing hanging from your neck. That's a camera, correct? Yes, sir. I take photos of our guests' smiling faces on holiday for 5 shillings a photo. Since we're all here, I'd like to have one, please. With pleasure. Naruhodo's so serious. Oh. He's a bellboy now, and he has to make money somehow. Oh goodness.
Thank you for coming with me today, Naruhodo-sama. My father seems glad that you came as well.
I'm glad to hear that. Professor Mikotoba. I wonder what he was going to tell me.
Now then, shall we head back to Baker Street? Iris-sama might be waiting for us with tea.
Yeah, you're right. Can't help wondering about Asogi. Maybe we should pay Lord Vortex a visit later and ask him. In the baggage on cart? Okay. We're examining stuff. Let's examine stuff. Some guest luggage has just been abandoned here. I'm a little worried a thief will come.
Look, the bellboy is keeping a sharp eye on them from afar. No need to worry.
I can't help feeling like they're laying out a welcome mat for thieves.
Suddenly, I get the feeling the bellboy is glaring at us. Perhaps it's because you're dressed all in black, Naruhodo-sama.
What? You're blaming it on me? Excuse you, he's wearing blue. What's that shining treasure up there that looks like all the gems in the world all clumped together? He doesn't know what a chandelier is! Oh my god, bless this child!
It's called a chandelier. It's a lighting fixture for brightening large rooms in a lavish way.
Is it really necessary to gather every gem in the world just to light a room?
I believe it's just electric lighting and glass.
If I try to hang one of those from the ceiling in my room, it would smash right through the floor.
Could you please quit finding fault with the chandelier?
What the heck, Naruhodo? What is this child? Bless this child!
That's the front desk. It's where guests who will be staying here check in and out.
I see. So what would make that person there the head... So that would make that person there the head clerk.
I'm sure he is. He's so well dressed.
I wouldn't mind staying a few nights in a fancy hotel like this.
I think the great Japanese Empire might go under if they sent us enough scholarship funds to afford that.
Leave it to the great British Empire to charge scary high fees like that. Even this hotel has a painting of the Crystal Tower from the London's World Fair.
Well, The London World's Fair was a major event meant to be a show of the Great British Empire's prestige. I wonder how high the Crystal Tower is. It's certainly a magnificent marvel. A scientific marvel.
The bathhouse near my boarding house back home has a smokestack that's 20 meters tall. The old bathhouse attendant guy would brag that it was the tallest in the neighborhood. I love you, Naruhodō, but at the same time, what the heck?
Incidentally, Paris, France has a tower that's 300 meters tall.
What? How many of Turtle Bath's smokestacks would you need to stack on top of each other to equal that? I can't read this anymore. Plus, if you make it that tall, wouldn't the smoke get stuck in there? I can't keep reading these. These are so... Naruhodō, please! I can't keep reading this.
Perhaps you should just forget about comparing it to the smokestacks at Turtle Bath.
I'm shaking my head so much. We done? We're done. I can't take this. Oh, I can't. Bless you, Naruhodō, but what the heck? Oh, man. The same day, unspecified time in Holmes's room. There's a scream? I don't know who's screaming. What the heck was that?
It sounded like a gentleman's unbecoming sobbing?
That voice. Maybe it was Holmes-san?
I generally hope not.
Ah! We won't do it again! What? Who? What?
Now, look here, you. I'm asking you sincerely, could you stop making yourself look so pathetic?
What the heck? What? Who are these two? Their hair is so red, it looks like it's on fire.
They don't appear to be clients, do they? Alright. Time to go to the detention center, you two.
I don't wanna! The cells are all dark and cramped!
The darkness is like an old friend to us. We welcome it.
What the shit?
Quit acting so brave! I know you're scared too!
Ridiculous! I was going to sit quietly in the darkness. They're going too fast now.
Come on. Come on now. I'll listen to the rest of your story down at the yard, so get a move on already. See you, Jeannie. Thanks for coming.
I should be thanking you. Thanks for your help, Mr. Famous Detective.
Gina-sama has really started to look like a proper detective, hasn't she? Ah, it's Naruhodō-kun and Susato-chan.
We're home, Iris-chan.
So, were you able to meet up with Susato-chan's papa? We were, thank you. Aw, lucky! I wish I could meet my papa.
I wish you could too. Awkward? Dr. John H. Watson, huh? All right, Iris. Now we have only life's biggest question left to solve. But before that, why don't we have ourselves some tea, eh, folks? Huh? What the shit, Sherlock? Hey, what's up, Mr. Naruhodō? Is there something on my face? Well, it's less about what's on his face, and more about what's growing on his head.
Come now, the herb tea is ready. Let's all have some. What? What on earth happened?
Here, you two, help yourselves. After all, we're about to have a guest. Why is your hair red? Those two guys earlier.
Who were those two gentlemen just now, Home-sama?
Oh, them? Just a pair of petty crooks. Nothing to worry about. I mean, they've got to live their lives too. I can turn a blind eye to most things when the mood strikes me.
When the mood strikes you?
They don't have to make another model, they just have to change his hair color. It's fine. It's not that hard. Most things. But their luck ran out when they chose Mr. Sherlock Holmes to try their con on.
What? They tried to con you, Home-sama?
So I dragged them home with me at once and handed them over to the little detective.
While you were already calling her, maybe you should have called Greggy-san as well.
Actually, I tried to reach him too, but couldn't get a hold of him. He's an awkward one, that one. Sort of, oh, what's the word? Ah, yes! Stupid! I think you could have just left it at awkward. A pair of red-haired criminals, huh?
I'm rather curious now.
Life's biggest question. See Sogi's name again, I think. So what's life's biggest question? The one you mentioned earlier.
Perhaps you're working on a baffling new case?
How shall I explain this? Are you familiar with the theory of evolution, Mr. Naruhodō? Theory of evolution? I feel like I might have heard it before.
It was a new theory that was presented about 40 years ago, correct? According to that scientist, humans were previously tree-dwelling monkeys.
What? We were monkeys? Eventually, those monkeys came down from the trees and began to live as humans, and ever since that day, we were burned with the fate of sweating over this internal mystery.
Fate? And what exactly would that be?
Indeed. Naturally. I'm talking about how to pay the rent, folks. Right.
But I believe you received quite a handsome reward from Madame Rosat the other day, did you not?
Why is my phone going crazy? My Discord going nuts right here? Ha! That pittance. Was only enough to buy Iris one potted herb plant and me one bicycle.
I think you obviously just spent too much, Holmesy.
However, 2 days ago, I found an answer to solving this difficult issue that's been plaguing mankind, at least for this month. And what was your answer? Your hint is standing right in front of you.
Right in front of us?
Man is a rather pitiful creature. The more something is staring them in the face, the harder it is for them to see it. Go on now. Observe me very closely. You should be able to find at least one part that's different from usual. There's no need to observe. There's one obvious detail that you couldn't miss if you tried, but...
It seems that we'll need a clue in order to get his secret out of him.
He could just tell us like a normal person. Holmes, I can't. The famous detective's lie. Don't you think it's about time you told us, Holmes-san? You told us 9 days ago, didn't you? Let me tell you something useful, Mr. Naruhodō. Famous detectives are prone to lie. You do well to remember that. Sonny, why did you lie? That's what I like to know here. Last year, during the incident on the steamship RFS Alacre, Asogi didn't die, and you knew that. What really happened that day? He was unconscious that day for a very long time. If his recitation had come even just a little later, he probably would have been in a very real danger. Resuscitation. Well, he still ended up with a residual side effect in the form of amnesia. Regardless, it was easy to get the crew to keep quiet about it. Did the crew know too? Huh? They carried his body out of his cabin. I then gathered the crew in the lobby and made them make me a promise that they let him sleep and that they let him off the ship in Hong Kong under the story that he was a murder victim. They were all in cahoots? What about Nikomina? Why did you put her through that? Why did you put Naruhodō through that? Why? Holy crap, you got Sherlock! A murder victim. Yeah, I was able to find a few materials to help me persuade them to cooperate. What the heck were those materials? Because those must have been really good shit! Drugs? Exactly! I'm sitting here like, why did you make her go through that? I mean, but then I sit here and like, wait, Sherlock was the one who was handling all of her stuff after we quote-unquote solved the case. So maybe he already worked it out, so it didn't like, the charges never actually went through because it didn't happen. What the crap? Just, I can't look at case 2 properly anymore. But why? Why would you do such a thing? Indeed. I expect the time to tell you everything will come at some point. However, I'd like you to believe just one thing for me. Even I didn't expect something like that to happen. Something like that? That he vanished in Hong Kong. Oh. I know there's no excuse for what I've done to you. Home-san. Why? Holy crap, the whole crew was in cahoots. What? Now case 2 is just gonna be weird if I play that again. I'm just looking like, you all knew, you bastards! Y'all knew! That's called an all-purpose analysis scope. I finally memorized its name. Nice job.
As I recall, it wasn't here when I returned to Japan.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was being held at the pawn shop, and the space was nice and tidy.
Oh, come to think of it, you're right.
Oh, that's right. I never thought of pawning your cluttered desk.
Don't think of such violent ideas. Please, no. There are tools for conducting science experiments, and some books and documents here, plus some old odd gadgets. They're all packed so tightly onto the shelf that it looks like it might collapse under the weight at any second.
The way it seems like it's going to collapse, but doesn't, reminds me of Home-sama himself.
I don't know what that means. Come to think of it, I'm no slouch when it comes to packing stuff onto shelves myself, but the shelf in my room finally collapsed the other day.
The way it collapsed just as expected reminds me of you, Naruhodō-sama.
I still don't know what that's supposed to mean. Oh, hey! Hey! Why is this here? Why is that here? Why? Why? Why?
There's a copy of last week's paper here.
I wonder why this ad has been circled in red ink.
It appears to be a want ad. Let's see. They're looking for... Invitation to the Red-Headed League.
Oh, well there's the evidence we need to show Sherlock. Red-Headed League? What's that?
I've never heard of it, but...
Yes, because Sherlock totally solved that mystery. Is there something on my face? There's definitely a connection to that hair color here. Red-Headed League ad. A newspaper ad that reads, "Invitation to the Red-Headed League." Something about this ad seems suspicious. Like Holmes? One of the things that I've liked about the Great British Empire is their fireplaces. But as a Japanese person, sometimes I miss my kotatsu.
You must be careful not to mistake the fireplace for a kotatsu and stick your legs into it. You'll burn your legs.
Sometimes I worry about her image of me. I don't think I have this. Huh. It's a big metal chest that also functions as a coffee table.
Iris-sama's treasures are inside, aren't they?
Yeah, but somehow I feel like it's treated awfully carelessly, considering. Come to think of it, I saw Holmes-san kicking it the other day.
Huh?
Something must have happened to upset him.
My. Was everything alright?
Well, the metal chest didn't even flinch, but Holmes-san doubled over.
Oh, it sounds as though poor Holmes-sama had a rough day.
Phone, please. Oh, go over here. I can still examine that mask, but I don't see the dialogue. There are mementos of cases Holmes-san has solved arranged here.
I get a sense of romance every time I look at the shelf. I feel as though there are more here now than there was before. A strange pair of pince-nez glasses, a strange little box, a strange horseshoe, and a strange cookie.
The last one is probably Iris-chan's snack. Apparently, Iris-chan writes ideas on the chalkboard when they come to her. Today we have a bunch of drawings of little dolls all packed together.
And they say apples are on offer at the marketplace.
What? The dolls talk?
You'll be able to solve that mystery if you read this month's issue of the Strand magazine.
Looks like the only one who can't read this code right now is me. She's got her beautiful tea set arranged neatly again, like always.
I've always thought that delicious tea starts with well-maintained serving tools.
Is that your roundabout way of telling me to straighten up my cluttered desk?
You're overthinking it. This is Iris-sama's medicine shelf. There are a bunch of little glass bottles lined up in a row on the white shelf.
Some of the little bottles are cutely decorated with ribbons. And if you look at the labels, you can see the word poison written cutely on some of them.
I was considering having Iris-sama teach me the basics of scientific experimentation.
Just make sure you do ones that don't involve poison or explosives, okay? This intimidating-looking hunk of black metal is apparently called a typewriter.
This is where the adventures of Sherlock Holmes are born. Oh, so this is what people mean when they talk about romance.
I got used to the typewriter too, a while back. The keys got all locked up before I knew what was happening, and Iris-chan got mad at me.
Naruhodō-sama. You'll shatter the romantic atmosphere, so don't mess with it ever again.
Now Susato-san's mad at me too. Okay, I don't have this dialogue. Is my translator awake? No, she's not. That's unfortunate. I don't have, this dialogue. That's really unfortunate. I'm really curious now what the heck this is about. Oh, that's sad. I'll have to tell her that later. It'll probably be added later when I do the LP. So let's see. What are we doing here? Okay, Mr. Holmes, let's take this and give this to you.
About this ad with the circle around it, Holmes-san.
Invitation to the Red-Headed League, huh? What about it?
I just wondered if there was a connection between this ad and your bright red hair, I mean.
It looks like you understand Mr. Holmes' methods now. Huh? Start with observing. It's very important.
Jumped out at me painfully obviously before I could even think about observing anything.
Very well, if you insist. I'll relieve my exploits for you.
Sounds like this isn't gonna be a humble tale.
Well, what, Okay, hold on. Okay. Alright, I will hit this. I will let the dialogue run. If you can translate it and you put it into the Twitch, by all means. All I saw was something about a Sogi, disciple, Great British Empire, and I was just like, okay. I don't need it. Okay, so that's the dialogue. You got it? By all means, put it in the Twitch. Alright, the Red-Headed League.
This ad has a circle around it. What is the Red-Headed League anyway?
Ah, so you found that, did you? That's what was supposed to help me pay our rent this month.
What? Huh? What do you mean?
According to this ad, the Red-Headed League is an impressive organization run by a certain group. There is but one qualification in order to join, and that's that your hair must be red.
That's, pretty straightforward. And get this, the lucky redheads who are accepted into the Red-Headed League gain the right to an unconditional salary of £4 a week from the organization. Oh my, £4 a week.
Why do they pay you? How should I know? That's just what the ad said.
But in that case, wouldn't every red-haired person in England be rushing to join? I'm sure you're right. Even I'd come running to join. I'd come running too, just to see if I'd be accepted.
I really doubt they let you in, Susato-san.
That's why the Red-Headed League has a set number of members.
I see. Only so many people are let in. Unfortunately, one of the members died just recently. That's not something to be happy about.
I'm not sure how to feel about your use of the word fortunately there.
In other words, you tried to apply for the vacancy, huh? Well, yeah. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen someone with such brilliantly red hair?
Well, no, I guess not.
But, I never imagined it would turn out like that!
What happened?
What I guess you call a slip-up. As much as I hate to admit it.
The famous detective slip-up. How did you even get your hair to turn that color?
This was neither the work or dye, nor a wig. I changed my hair to red overnight. With the power of science.
With science?
The original goal of my research was to renew used tea leaves, but at some point during my research, I ended up with the medicine that turns your hair bright red if you drink it. Can I tempt you? It'll turn every strand of your hair on your body bright red. I think I'll pass.
But that medicine doesn't sound like it'd be very good for you.
This is why I can't stand amateurs.
I should have expected as much from you, Home-sama. So then...
Yes, of course. I was prepared to turn a blind eye to some level of danger for 4 pounds a week. I wonder if that medicine's really okay to drink.
But anyway, with that, Holmesy set out yesterday to the park on Lime Street, where the Red-Headed League was conducting their interviews.
So, what happened? The park was practically buried in redheads. It was like a battleground. So I waited in line for 8 hours in that line, and finally my turn came. When I met the panel of judges, they said one thing to me. Oh, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, are you in the middle of an undercover investigation in disguise? So I had no choice but to give the following reply. Shh! Quiet! They'll hear you! Then, well, all I could do was leave quietly. When I looked in the mirror this morning, I felt strangely irritated with my reflection. So I called the coppers on them. Wow!
Huh. Sounds like a rough day for everyone. Holmesy and those two. Come to think of it, Holmes-sama said earlier that he was expecting a guest today.
I certainly am! Quite right, Miss Susato! A guest? Do you mean those 2 redheads from before? Those were a pair of criminals. When I say a guest, I mean a client. A client? A gentlewoman with the case for this great detective will arrive here soon, folks.
Oh my! Congratulations!
You two may feel free to watch and learn from the way I, like the famous detective I am, listen to her story. Okay. Choke on that this month's rent. Fall to ruin, Red-Headed League. Sherlock, why?
There are some awfully violent words hiding behind that cheerful laughter.
Excuse me?
But we still have more than an hour before it's time for an appointment. If you got other things to do, why don't you get those done first?
The same day, but now in Naruhodō's legal consulting offices. That's a spade that's been here since we started renting this room.
As I told you before, it's not a spade, it's a shovel.
And our never-ending argument continues.
Then how about this? We can just give it a name, like Dr. Dirtpour does with his tools.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
In that case, from today onward, this shall be known as Ryūnosuke.
No, I think it'd be better if we started calling it Susato-san. Really? Looks like this argument has taken an unexpected turn and suddenly entered a third act. Oh my god, these children.
The steam is rising quietly into the air as usual.
Yeah, things just feel right without this. But I can't help feeling like the steam is oddly aromatic today.
Yes, I believe the sweet potatoes I brought from Japan should be just about baked through. That was quite a loud gulp, Naruhodō-sama.
Those were my mouth's tears of joy. Oh, his love for food. What is his love for food? That's my desk. It's perfectly and beautifully cluttered as usual. Beautifully cluttered.
I think today is the day you ought to finally straighten it up.
Here's what I think, Susato-san. The clutter is a sign that my life is changing day by day, and I leave it as it is so that I can anticipate the change that lies ahead.
If that's the case, I think that's even more reason to finally tidy it. That way, you can fully enjoy life's change once more anew.
I can't out-talk her, even though I'm a lawyer. When I drink the tea you make, Susato-san, I can't help feeling a little homesick.
I know you don't care much for bitter things, so I've done my best to select a tea that's not bitter.
Well, she's been making some mild tea for me, but when I drink it, I can't help missing that shudder-inducing bitterness.
What a conundrum.
The Daruma is winking at me as usual. I wonder when he'll finally get his other eye drawn in.
Yes, I wonder as well.
I decided to let Susato-san handle that important role.
Actually, I have a time in mind.
Huh? When is it?
It's a secret.
Of course. Oh, okay, she set up her desk all up again.
My desk has been restored to the way it was before I returned to Japan.
Ink and a brush. Even though we're living in London, huh? I'm not sure if I should say that's like you or not.
Though it's fun to see how Western items will change our lives since Japan's westernization. I just can't say goodbye to my brush.
So she says, but somehow frighteningly. Susato's handwriting with a brush is even finer than it is with a pen.
It's all thanks to practice.
Beyond that door is Susato-san's private room. Even though she's been gone and came back, she shows no sign of deciding to let me come in.
Iris-sama is the only one allowed in my room.
Come to think of it, I heard them laughing and having a good time in there last night.
Aww. Why don't you just visit Home-sama's room?
He tried to get me to drink some weird medicine when I went the other day. Don't die, Naruhodō.
They're all swimming and swaying again today like they're enjoying themselves.
Come to think of it, this is something I've just recently noticed, but these sea anemones have amazing reproductive power, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Seriously, it's a wonder the bottom of the sea isn't completely taken over by sea anemones.
Oh my, you're absolutely right. It truly is a wonder.
Could someone please explain Susato-san's very odd reaction just now? I don't know, Naruhodō, don't look at me. That was extra. I didn't have to do that, but we did it. Hair keeps coming in my way. Oh no! Oh. Same day, unspecified time, the High Court of Justice, Chief Magistrate's Office. Here is the manuscript for tomorrow's opening address. Your Lordship notes contain the detailed numerical values calculated by the Yard. I see. Well done, as I expected of you. Sir, much obliged. Lord Van Zeeks.
They seem to be having a very nerve-wracking briefing of some sort.
This room is suffocating at the best of times. I wish they would make things even more nerve-wracking. Oh, it's you folks. You're so small and dark that I didn't even notice you there. Begging your pardon. Thanks, Vortex! Hi to you too! No, it's entirely my own fault for dressing all in black.
Well, make sure to come dress all in white next time.
Ah, Mr. Naruhodō.
Yes, my lord. Naruhodō, at your service.
I can see my life flashing before my eyes. Is something wrong? Perhaps this room is a little warm for your taste. No! I've never experienced such a perfect room temperature in my entire life. Naruhodō! I hope that's the case, but you appear to have bullet-sized drops of sweat beating on your forehead. That's mostly because of nerves caused by his... Oh, that's mostly because of nerves caused by his lordship's gaze. The International Scientific Investigation Symposium will begin at last tomorrow. I received word a moment ago that your father had arrived in London.
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting him.
Now then, Lord Van Zieks, I leave the meeting hall to you. I'll head over shortly. Hi. Bye? Oh.
He glared at you for a moment before leaving, Naruhodō-sama.
And here I was thinking I was a nobody. These last few days have been dizzyingly busy. My right hand, for these past long years, was suddenly snapped cleaned off the other day, you see. Huh? You seem to have both your hands as far as I can see.
Naruhodō-sama, I believe when he says his right hand, he's referring to Dr. Sith.
Oh, she's probably right. I apologize. I was just... No, this is undeniably no fault of yours. She's the one who acted corruptly. You have nothing to feel guilty about. And why do I still feel the heated gaze of this man who's just had his right hand snapped off, burning into me? I've got Lord Van Zieks working hard. Troublingly, his apprentice seems to have gone away as of yesterday. Of course! I see. His apprentice went away?
You must mean Kazuma-sama. Of course he went away.
Why wouldn't he go away? Why would he not make this difficult for us? The International Scientific Investigation Symposium. Apparently yesterday, the number of visitors to the London's World's Fair reached 30 million. 30 million? I didn't even know there were that many people in the world.
Incidentally, the total population of the Imperial City of Tokyo is around 20 million.
The International Scientific Investigation Symposium will be held in the Central Hall on the World's Fair's grounds. Thinking back, it's taken 2 years to coordinate this event with each country. That's, wow. Congratulations on making it to the event then. The dawning 20th century will definitely be an era of scientific investigation. And the partnership between the international police forces will be indispensable. That's precisely why the host country of this momentous first meeting had to be our very own England, in order to ensure that our Scotland Yard is poised to be the best investigative organization in the world in the coming century. Lord Vortex's intense will hasn't changed at all, huh?
But your will is very strong as well, Naruhodō-sama.
I'm the only one in this nation who can see the future of scientific investigation. I intend to become Attorney General and remake the Yard from square one. It's for that reason alone that I must admit that the mismanagement of the Scientific Investigation Unit was a hard blow. The disbanded Scientific Investigation Unit. Is it still him? Yes. The Scientific Investigation Unit is a body that I established experimentally last year. I made Dr. Sith the head of the unit and they continue to garner achievements. And then, they were supposed to change its name to the Scientific Investigation Department and institute it as an official branch of the Yard. Does that mean you can't make it an official branch now? Of course we can't. It'll be a while now before anyone feels like so much as considering it. Unfortunately, even I don't have the power to silence the press all throughout the city. The 60 million citizens of London are spewing all the venom they can muster at the Scientific Investigation Unit right now. You could say that this has set our nation's dreams of scientific investigation back a full decade.
So that's the backlash of what our trial caused. However, I don't think we can overlook the reality of the situation.
Of course not. I'm grateful to you. Either way, I will become Attorney General and rebuild our nation's police force, regardless of how long it takes, or what measures I must use. You are screaming so much bad guy right now, like, God. Missing apprentice. About Lord Van Zeek's apprentice. Oh yes, I was quite surprised as well to learn that he was a friend of yours. How did he even become an apprentice anyway? It happened 3 months ago. The police were contacted by immigration, saying that they had an unidentified Oriental in their custody. Apparently, he crossed the ocean by concealing himself on a large freight ship.
Asuma-sama, does that mean he was a stowaway?
He had no form of ID and no passport. On top of that, he lost his memory. We hadn't a single clue aside from the fact that he was Oriental. But I decided to keep him close to the administration of justice by making him an apprentice. Either way, why the mask? I simply figured that it would be a bother to explain why we had an Oriental following us around. And wearing a mask made it better? How would that be more of a pain than explaining why you had a weirdo in a mask following you around? He's been of great service to Lord Van Zeek's. I look forward to seeing where his future will take him. By the way, where's the apprentice now? I'm afraid I don't know. He seems to have left London. Why?
Is that so?
It seems that you weren't aware either. That man's father committed major crimes in this country.
Asogi Genshin.
His father's major crimes. The things that came out in that trial 8 days ago were a huge shock. I never imagined that his father might have... Asogi Genshin. The professor incident had our whole nation trembling 10 years ago.
Terrifying serial murders in which a giant hound was used as a weapon.
I doubt anyone could have predicted that the killer would end up being an exchange student visiting from the Far East. The true identity of the serial killer was never revealed to the public. No one in your country, nor the City of London, ever found out the truth.
In order to avoid worsening relations between the Great British Empire and the Great Japanese Empire at the time.
Precisely. However, there can be no mistake that there was someone at the time who was supportive of the serial killer's crimes. What? They supported the professor? Most of the victims were central figures, on the rotten side of the noble community at the time. Ironically, thanks to their death, society reaped some benefits. There are quite a few people here in London who feel that way.
Is that so? He was still committing murder. I can't help seeing some similarities between the professor and the Grim Reaper of Old Bailey.
Spooky. Very spooky. That's it. We have talked, and now we must go back to Holmes' room. Oops, I went too far. Here she is, folks! A real live client! Real live cash! With real live cash.
I hope it's an interesting case, don't you, Holmesy?
We're currently facing the most difficult issue known to man. I plan to take her case whether it's interesting or not. Just as long as it's not some boring runaway search request. You'll turn every runaway in the world against you with an audacious statement like that.
Ah, Holmesy always acts a little dangerous when rent day approaches.
Oh.
Master Sherlock Holmes, please, I beg you.
Hey, it's the juror. One of the jurors.
Please help me find my runaway husband.
Oh, it's a runaway case. Why did it have to be that?
Huh? Is something wrong?
Oh, no, just talking to myself. Watch your mouth, Mr. Naruhodō. I didn't even say anything. Come now, dear lady, have a seat. Iris, bring us some tea, please.
Okay.
Why is there a juror now? Let's just see. This is the case of just reoccurring jurors. What's wrong, Susato-san?
Oh, nothing. It's just that this gentlewoman looks awfully familiar. I feel as though we saw her somewhere recently.
Now that she mentions it.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Anna Damwachon.
Ooh. Alright, here's a note from the translator. She changed the character's last name from Mitsurumon to Dale-Watchon? In order to preserve the meaning of the pun in her husband's name. Okay. Hold on. I have to stop for a second to look at the book. Okay, so her name in Japanese is Anna Mitterman. But for this one, we are going with... I see now. Okay, I get why she went with this. I got it now. We're not gonna see her husband, but, oh no, my mic is falling on me. Hold on a second. The pop filter is being funny with me. But let me copy paste this. So what we're going with her is Dale Watchon, which is really, that's really hard for me to say, Kari. I know what you're trying to go for, but that's really hard. That's harder than saying Mitterman.
Please, you must find my husband. Money is no object.
I could care less about the money. The investigation itself is more than enough of a reward for me.
Oh my, Master Holmes.
But, well, just for the sake of caution, let us both etch that statement you just made deep into our memories so that we don't forget it.
By the way, Master Holmes, who might the gentleman and lady there be?
Oh, I'm...
After all, I was hoping to keep this business with my husband just between us.
Ah, he's a friend of mine. Anything you say to me, you may say to him as well. He's quite trustworthy. That's almost the exact line that he says with Watson. Like in the books.
I wonder...
Yes, I'll vouch for him. After all, he's shockingly hard of hearing. So that's how you want to play, huh? Miss Damwachon. Pardon me for asking, but have we met somewhere recently? Ha! What are you talking about, Mr. Naruhodō? It seems you have no talent for telling us English apart. If you want to invite a married lady to tea, at least think of a better pickup line than that.
Might you perchance be the defense attorney from that trial 8 days ago?
So I was right.
The thought of being being able to crush a person's the thought of being able to crush a person's future with my own two hands. It's quite thrilling.
I guess that statement was so overwhelming that I had trouble remembering her face.
It must be quite difficult, being a defense attorney when you're hard of hearing.
I'm sorry?
Oh, never mind. No need to strain yourself if you can't hear.
Another annoying position I find myself in. All thanks to Home-san. Well, why don't you two just listen quietly from the corner? Alright. Mr. Dame Watch-on. Could you tell me a little bit about Mr. Dame Watch-on?
His name is Everett Dame.
Every day I'm watching. Every day I'm watching. Everett Dame watching. Okay, I get you now. Here we go. Now we got the husband's name. So this is what she translated. From his Japanese name, which is literally the same exact thing.
This is a photo of my husband.
I see. He's a very normal, average-looking English gentleman, isn't he? How long have you been married?
15 years this year. We have a good relationship, and he makes a decent income, so we're able to live comfortable lives.
Yes, it certainly looks that way. I can tell as much by looking at you.
Oh!
Your dress is the latest fashion, your hat is well cared for, and your eyes are lively. In other words, I see no reason for your husband to have run away. That's what I meant.
Yes, he's very kind and responsible, and loves me dearly.
However, in that case, it's possible that he got involved in some sort of incident.
Precisely. I've been so worried about that possibility. After all, my husband's job is a tad unusual. Perhaps there are those who have it in for him.
What is it that your husband does?
He's a jailer.
A jailer? That certainly is unusual. Jailer. So your husband is a jailer at the prison?
Yes, to be more precise, he's the head jailer.
Oh, I see. Then, as a head jailer, he must have some special duties.
Yes, indeed he does. He's in charge of preparing for and attending the most fearsome of all punishments.
The most fearsome of all punishments? Executions, huh?
On such occasions, he has to stay as a jailer at the jailer's lodging house for 2 days leading up to the event. Because of that, his salary is a bit more generous than that of other jailers, but we're careful to keep quiet about my husband's work to the neighbors.
I see. That might be for the best. Incidentally, which prison is your husband employed by?
It's called Barclay Prison.
Aha! Barclay, eh? Quite a fine prison, that one. If memory serves, that prison has a large cemetery behind it, correct?
Yes indeed it does. It's called Lowgate Cemetery.
What? We just heard about Lowgate Cemetery. Don't tell me it's... It would seem that it's just as you suspect, Mr. Naruhodō.
What did you just say, Master Holmes?
Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself again, madam. What could this possibly... It can't be a coincidence, right? His disappearance. So, when you say when you say he's gone missing, are you saying that he left no indication of his whereabouts?
Please don't laugh when I tell you this, but he's been missing since yesterday.
Yesterday? That's more recent than I ever would have imagined.
Actually, my husband sometimes has to tend to the sort of work that requires him to spend the night. And it's not unusual for him to be away from home for a few days. However, for him to leave without telling me, even for a single day, that's never happened before. Oh, my dear Everett, where have you gone?
Alright, calm down now, Mr. Damn Watch On. So, what about the police? Have you spoken with them?
Yes, of course I have, but they refused to consider it a missing person case after just one day. And they told me to go home and wait a bit longer.
To be honest, I'm afraid I must agree with them, Mrs. Damn Watch On. Damn Watch On. Oh, that's so hard for me to say. But mind you, I shall go out of my way to look for your husband.
Oh my. Thank you, Master Holmes.
No, you must understand. This is not about anything so based as being able to pay my rent. It's for the sake of seeing one more smile in this fair imperial city of ours, and nothing more.
Thank you so much. I'll pay whatever you ask as a show of gratitude.
He's coming off as awfully suspicious. Thank you, Mrs. Dale Watch On. I believe I heard enough for the time being.
Oh, Master Holmes.
Please, rest at ease. I hope to have good news for you by tomorrow.
Oh my, Master Holmes. That's so soon.
Good news is always best when it comes soon. Anyway, I'll be holding on to this photo. Dan Watch On's photo. A photo borrowed from Mrs. Dan Watch On. In order to search for her missing husband, he has a nondescript face. Excuse me. Now then, you may leave through that door.
Oh, Master Holmes, I'm counting on you.
Yeah, you go. Well, there's something else going on here that we gotta worry about.
You know, I think this every time, but you're pretty brave, making irresponsible promises like that, Holmesy. Can you really have good news ready for her by tomorrow?
How should I know? I didn't guarantee that. I only stated that what I hope would happen. I hope to have is what I said. After all, tomorrow is the day the rent is due. If I can't find him by tomorrow, then everyone will be happy. If I can find him tomorrow, then everyone will be happy, right? Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodō? Please don't look at me so hopefully. Well, Mr. Naruhodō, did you catch the details of the case? Yes, my ears are actually pretty sharp. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. So, what do you think? Regarding the prison she mentioned, isn't Barclay Prison... So you made the connection, did you?
Of course. Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery is located right behind the prison. Therefore, it was famous among students as a place where the ghost of death row inmates appear.
Barclay Prison is where that condemned prisoner was held.
The professor. And the head jailer of that prison has mysteriously vanished, huh? I'm really curious. In any case, I'm counting on you now, Mr. Naruhodō. Huh? So go to the prison and see what you can find out. Start with the chief officer. He's probably pretty worried himself. But what about you? You're not coming? I should think it was fairly obvious, but... You think I could just wander around town looking like this? Holmes. What about the flares of investigation? Yeah, you can tweet it at me, because I'm not gonna be able to read it right now. But didn't you just go to Lime Street looking like that? That was different. Anyway, I'm counting on you. I'm busy, you see? Holmes. Yada yada. Yada yada indeed. Okay, where are we heading to now? Prison cell. Prison. Excuse me. Barclay Prison was outside of London proper, back to back with a lonesome joint cemetery. Surrounded by 4 high walls, lying quietly in the mist. We requested a meeting with the chief officer, and were led into the chief officer's office, up in the watchtower. No, I can't! Not well! It's the same day, unspecified time, the Barclay Prison. Chief Officer's Office. Great! Great! Whoa, this guy! We house prisoners who've committed severe crimes here, so I don't get many interview requests. And an interview with not one of the prisoners, but me, the chief officer, is even more unusual. Oh boy. I'm Chief Officer Harry Barricade. Nice to meet you. I'm Attorney Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. Orientals? Who'd you be? Yes, we're legal studies exchange students from the Great Japanese Empire. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes. We don't have any Japanese prisoners here. You must have confused us with the prison next door.
I didn't notice any other prisons around here.
We were hoping to speak with you about... I hate to say this, but... I can't just talk about prison matters with any suspicious person who wanders in off the streets. Please leave. Yep, his name is Barricade. Last name, anyway. Is this what being Japanese gets us? This must be.
It's likely thanks to the professor.
You think so too, Susato-san. 10 years ago, Asogi Genshin, also known as the Professor, was held in this prison. And then, after his execution, he rose from the dead in the shared cemetery out back. So I was right. You two are here sniffing around about that incident, are you? You are a couple of the Professor's spies, are you? No, we're just... Get out, or I'll lock you up. Alright, we'll be going now. Well, that's unfortunate. So that serial killer's ghost still haunts this prison. In any case, it looks like we'll need some way to prove to him that we're not suspicious.
Chief Officer Barricade.
What's up, Susato-san?
I feel like I've heard that name from someone. If we can just have a word with that person, then perhaps.
Now that she mentions it, I kind of feel the same. Well, thanks, dude. I guess we'll just go somewhere... Oh, that's not it. We'll go somewhere else. I think we need to go back to the hotel. Aw, Mikatoba's reading a newspaper! How cute. This is cute. Oh, it's Professor Mikatoba. Oh, it's you two. I finally just got a moment to relax. I don't see Judge Jigoku around. Well, yes, he can be quite restless sometimes. Apparently, he went to exchange greetings with the folks at the Department of Justice.
You two just arrived in London. He certainly is eager, isn't he?
Professor Mikatoba, did you say earlier that you owed a lot to the chief officer down at the prison? Oh, you mean Chief Officer Barricade? I knew it.
We have something we'd like to speak to the chief officer about. But he said he wouldn't speak to a suspicious Oriental lawyer.
he might agree to speak to you if I went along, but... In that case, please, we can go now. But as you can see, I'm rather busy at the moment. Really? Because it looked like you were sitting around sipping coffee. Come now, don't be like that. I got things to prepare for tomorrow. Right, sorry. I didn't even say anything. You Mikotobas are just too good at reading people.
I think it's just that you, Naruhodō, are just too easy to read.
Now, you two. Just give me a moment. Professor Mikotoba wrote something with a few smooth sweeps of his fountain pen. Here's a letter of introduction. You might be able to get somewhere if you mention my name.
Thank you so much.
The professor's letter of introduction. A letter from Professor Mikotoba to Chief Officer Barricade, introducing us. This should get him to talk to us. Well, good luck, you two. Thanks! Okay, we're out of here again. Man, this room is creepy, though. Okay, mister. Oops, that's the wrong one. Take this letter. About this, Chief Officer Barricade. What do you want? You rotten Japanese exchange student. You can't fool me with your tricks. Mikotoba? You don't mean the Mikotoba from the forensic pathology lab, do you?
Yes, that's right. That Mikotoba. Forgive me for not introducing myself sooner. I'm Mikotoba's daughter. My name is Susato.
Oh! Did you say you're Mikotoba's daughter? Why didn't you say so sooner? And now everything's fine!
It sounds as though I should have introduced myself much sooner.
Come, have a seat. Can I interest you in a cuppa? Help yourself to some hand-cuffed biscuits to sweeten your interview. That's a tiny cookie. Professor Mikotoba has incredible influence, doesn't he?
I really wish I had introduced myself sooner.
So, what brings you to a place like this, little miss?
Actually, we're investigating an incident.
Apparently one of the jailers at this prison has gone missing, correct? Missing?
Yes. We assumed that the news would have already reached you.
No, there's no such incident occurring at this prison right now.
Huh?
What's going on?
The jailer in question is Mr. Everyday Watchon.
What? Damn Watchon?
Yes, we were asked by his wife to investigate his disappearance.
I think I'll keep quiet about the part about him only having been missing for a day. It looks like he's having an inkling.
Would you mind speaking to us about it, Chief Officer Sama?
Sure, of course. I don't mind, but... This grandfather clock, if you look closely,
there's a fearsome blade rising and falling threateningly inside.
That's a clock from a motif of a form of execution used during the French Revolution, known as the guillotine. Oh, it actually can cut through things. Like a person's neck? No, of course not. Like carrots and radishes.
I see.
If I put a radish in there in the morning, it'll be chopped clean through by evening.
How should I put this? It doesn't sound particularly sharp, does it? I suppose these pictures on the wall must be portraits of former chief officers at this prison?
Or maybe they're condemned criminals that Chief Officer Barricade has executed.
Either way, I can't deny that they look like rough characters.
The character on the far right especially looks badder than bad. That's me.
We're so sorry.
Perhaps being a rough character is a condition for being made a chief officer? As if. Well, it is taken into consideration, though. Wait, really? Here we have an axe, a rifle, and 4 sets of handcuffs. Quite the fearsome collection of items you've got for decoration. Oh, the items that all have interesting histories behind them. What sort of histories? The rifle belonged to a serial killer? Is that an ancient gladiator's axe? Are those handcuffs part of a set that used to capture some bizarre creature with 4 arms and 4 legs?
Those sound more like ghost stories than anything else.
No, that's not the kind of history I meant. That axe was used to chop down a cherry tree in my garden, which I was then told off for. This animation! I see. The handcuffs on the far left are a memento of the first cat burglar I ever arrested, back in my beat officer days.
Sounds like the type of histories involved are a bit different from what you imagined.
I'm mostly relieved, but also slightly disappointed. Oh, Naruhodō. The bird. I didn't expect to see a parrot in a place like this. Is it your pet, Chief Officer?
That appearance, in a room like this, I can't help thinking it seems a bit like a prisoner itself.
Let me out of here! Don't want to die!
Oh. Those lines! Did it pick them up from the nightly screams of the prisoners? Can we cross-examine the parrot? Good question. Oh no, this little guy was originally one of 3 chicks. Those were the names of his 2 older brothers who were given 2 different owners. Really? Lenny Udurari and Duan Adai. What? Duan Adai. Alright, let me get you some food, Millicent. What? I'm sorry, I need to like copy and paste this. I got really lost at those translations there. I think it's supposed to be a pun, but whatever. Here. Or it doesn't send, that's cool too. Lenny Udurari and, oh, and I think the parrot is like named I'm Innocent. I get it. Okay, that was... I just said it wrong because I'm not good at it. I'll probably get it when the next time I try to do this again. There's a big shelf of documents. The labels have prisoners' names written on them. The huge amount of materials is all arranged neatly from A to Z. That's 50 years worth of Barclay prison inmate records. The ones who got out alive, and the ones who die here. They're the grave markers of the records and memories of the crimes they left here.
These records of crimes and punishment feel awfully heavy.
That aside, why is he whipping out tea and cookies for a topic like that? That deer's gaze has been boring into my neck the whole time we've been here.
Huh?
He can't enter the room, and it's too late to pull his head back out. So he's stuck just watching us sadly.
That's taxidermy. The deer isn't alive.
I guess she's right. I thought someone had tried to send an assassin in at us through the vent or something.
I'm begging your pardon, but I believe you've been reading too much Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh no, this boy is so precious. Head jailer Damon Watchon. Damn Watchon. So, Dan Watchon-san is the head jailer in this prison, correct? Yes, that he was. He was a wonderful jailer, very responsible and mindful of his duties. He was? Yes, he retired from his job at this prison.
What?
And when was that? Let's see, how long ago was it? Well, I believe it was about 10 years ago. Excuse me?
Huh? He quit being a jailer 10 years ago?
Yes, actually, I hadn't heard his name in 10 years until you just said it to me. Hearing that he's gone missing is quite concerning.
But Mr. Danwatch's wife didn't say anything about that. Sounds as though Mrs. Danwatchan wasn't aware.
Where is he getting his money?
That Danwatchan-sama had quit his position as the head jailer.
Could you mind telling us a little more, Chief Officer? Why did Danwatchan-san quit being the head jailer? Is that really important?
Yes, I think it is. Naruhodō-sama.
I can't help wondering about the fact that it happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago was the year the professor was held here. 10 years ago.
So, Danwatchan-san quit his position as a head jailer 10 years ago. What on earth happened?
To be precise, he didn't quit. He was sacked.
You mean he was fired?
Yeah. Happened after a certain observation.
Observation?
Yes, that's our lingo. It means the observation of an execution.
Execution?
It's the head jailer's duty to direct everything, from the preparation of the gallows to the matters following the execution. However, during his last observation, he did something utterly mad.
Whatever did Danwatchan-sama do?
I'm terribly sorry, but I can't discuss it with unrelated persons like yourselves. It's incredibly unusual for a head jailer to be sacked, though.
But apparently Mrs. Danwatchan didn't know about any of this. She still thinks he's working at this prison as the head jailer.
It's not our place to tell her.
May I ask one thing?
What is it, young lady?
Regarding the final execution Danwatchan observed. Was it perhaps the professor's?
Thought so.
That must be it.
I'm terribly sorry, but I can't tell you that.
I see.
I'm gonna need a break soon. Professor Mikatoba.
My father came to study abroad in the Great British Empire in order to study forensic pathology, but it seems as though you knew him well, Chief Officer Sama.
Forensic pathology, the prison, and the shared cemetery all have a rather deep connection with each other. After all, fresh corpses are required in order to study forensic pathology.
I can kind of imagine. I suppose the medical progress can get a little dirty sometimes, can it?
The forensic pathology lab that Mikatoba studied in is on the opposite side of the shared cemetery. It's in the basement of St. Antrude's Hospital. They're still carrying on quietly down there.
Antrude? I feel like I've heard of that.
That was like back in case 4? In the first game?
I should think so too. We've been there before ourselves.
Mikatoba would often come over in a carriage to do pickups.
He must have been coming for their freshest goods.
We often discuss anatomy in this very room, which will bring back memories. With a fragrant cuppa in one hand and some handful of biscuits in the other.
see.
Mikatoba was a trustworthy man who was highly dedicated to his research. And yet, I just can't understand you Japanese.
You must mean Asogi Genshin.
He seems like a nice guy to have tea with, even though he's like a big, intimidating looking guy. Now then. I believe that's about all I can say on the subject.
Thank you very much, Chief Officer Barricade-sama.
Ah, one moment, please. Should be around here somewhere. You can have this as a souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What's this?
It's head jailer David Watch's disciplinary dismissal notice from 10 years ago.
Oh! Are you sure it's alright?
Of course. It's not the original copy, though. Disciplinary dismissal notice. A heavy punishment handed down 10 years ago to head jailer Damon Watchon by Barclay Prison.
Thank you very much, Chief Officer Barricade.
In return. Promise me you won't be back. That incident is over.
Now then, it might be best if we return to Baker Street for a bit.
Yes, we need to report what we found out about Mr. Dane Watchon to Holmes-san. What are we supposed to tell Mrs. Dane Watchon? Good question. A twist. We're going back and forth to Holmes' place a lot here in this investigation. Also, I may need a break pretty soon. I want to keep going because we didn't get much done yet in the investigation because I keep poking everything. It's the same day, unspecified time, Holmes' room. We're back.
Welcome home! I thought you might be home soon, so I baked some scones.
I thought something smelled good. Hey, welcome back, folks! Why is your hair blue now? That took you less than I expected. Hi, Holmes-san.
Oh. Holmes-sama.
What? No, it's alright. No need to say a word. As one might imagine, trying to change my hair back to normal color right away by splashing a random chemical on it was a bad idea. My hand's in my face right now. Hand meeting face.
Indeed.
So, what did you find out about our dear head jailer? Right. It's not as stunning as your hair, but we did find out something surprising.
Yes. It's not as stunning as your hair, but it turns out that the head jailer was Holmes!
Gina?
There's been a crime. Help me, Holmes!
Gina-san.
I don't know what to do anymore.
What? Her shoulders are shaking. Gina? Gina?
What's wrong, Gina-sama?
Must be something truly horrible. After all, she didn't say a single word about my bright blue hair. Holmes, please! Not now!
The bosses.
The boss? Does she mean Detective Gregson?
The boss is dead. We found him earlier. He'd been shot with a pistol.
What? Huh?
No. Detective Gregson Summers.
Excuse me?
He was murdered? No way!
Just come inside. Tell us what happened.
Gregson? Huh? What?
Gregson's death? Is it true, Gina-san? Was Detective Gregson really shot? I don't know all the details either, but they're investigating the crime scene right now. And where is the crime scene? A small, empty room for rent, just off of Fresno Street. That's outside of London. Not the sort of place a detective would live in. Was he investigating something there?
All the other police said they didn't know. That's very odd, isn't it? I learned so much from the boss. I still can't do any of it by myself, but I was sure I'd be able to show him someday that I'd managed to become a proper detective. Jeannie.
Oh my god, this is killing me. The murderer. So, what about the person who shot Detective Gregson?
He was arrested. Huh?
He was arrested.
An eyewitness reported the crime right away. He was caught by the officers who rushed to the scene. Who was it? Who's the damn wretched murderer?
I can't believe it.
Huh? It's the Grim Reaper.
What? Wait a second. The Grim Reaper? You can't mean the one who was arrested was Lord Baroque Van Zeeks?
That's right. The Grim Reaper killed my boss.
What? Lord Van Zeeks? Excuse me? Woohoo! I don't have enough popcorn for this! Baroque Van Zeeks. Are you absolutely certain of that?
I mean, I saw them in the interrogation room at the yard. But they said there were eyewitnesses, and they all said it was him.
Okay, this is happening in November, so we can't even make the Christmas joke.
They all... So that means there was more than one witness. The witness heard a gunshot, and when the officers entered the scene of the crime, there was no one in the room but the boss and the Grim Reaper.
I just can't believe Lord Van Zeeks would take Detective Gregson's life. No, man, that can't be it. I mean, he's creepy, but no.
Neither can I.
I understand the situation. This is truly awful news. I'm so sorry, Miss Lestrade.
Why are you apologizing?
I can't watch Gina's animations. She's upsetting me.
Anyway, I'm going to send a carriage flying to the crime scene. You lot come as fast as you can too. I'm begging you.
Someone give Gina a hug. Detectives always appear at the crime scene after the deed has already been done, with foolish looks on their faces. Sometimes, I can't help feeling so powerless. Holmes-san. What nonsense! This great detective is sick of it, I tell you. I was here. And Gregson. I'm going on ahead to investigate, Mr. Naruhodō. Right. we'll set out right away too. Also, I'll leave repeat you to you two. Well, I guess that goes without saying, doesn't it? Oh boy, we're gonna defend him! Now then, until we meet again, folks. Wow. Man, that was a real trip trying to voice Gina there. Detective Gregson was murdered, and Lord Van Zees was arrested.
Naruhodō-kun, Susato-chan, I'll call you a carriage.
Thanks. Let's go, Susato-san.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. And give myself a nice, a 5-minute break, and we'll keep going, okay? It's getting good. I get to the good parts when we get close to the end. It's just awful. So, we'll definitely keep going, don't worry. Just let me, take a 5-minute break. So add 5 minutes to whatever your time is, and we'll be back.